This is the all-new Chevy Impala. The Impala nameplate was one of the best-selling cars of all time.
The Impala was very popular back in the 60s and 70s, but the previous model ended up in fleet sales and on car rental lots. Now, it was a good car, but just really not as popular as it used to be. This all-new model is hoping to change all of that, with an eye-catching design, a roomy interior, and even an efficient and powerful four-cylinder engine. Consumer Reports recently rated this one of the best cars they've ever tested. It rated right behind the BMW 135i and the Tesla Model S.
Now, the Impala starts at just over $28,000. The car you see here is the 2LT. That's the entry for V6 equipped Impalas, and that's right around $33,000. Now, General Motors believes most people will get the four-cylinder, but when you add on extra features, expect to pay over 30 grand. Styling is a selling point. We've kind of decided it looks maybe like a Camaro-inspired sedan with the rear fender flares of a Dodge Charger and maybe a little bit of Ford Fusion influence. These are all very good cars to draw from. Regardless, this is a handsome car and should also be considered by buyers that are looking in the mid-size class.
Of course, one of the advantages of getting a big sedan like this is that there's tons of room for passengers inside the car, but there's also a lot of space for all your cargo. Now, this trunk is huge. It's wide and deep, and the seats fold down flat. So really, there's no reason to get an SUV because with a big sedan like this, you still have tons of room for all your cargo.
Now, the inside of this Impala really works for me. It showcases what General Motors is doing right. You see a very nice combination of shapes, colors, and materials that really make the inside pop. The seats on the base model are covered in cloth. This mid-level trim gets the faux suede seats and, of course, leather on the top models. The dash is covered in soft touch materials. I especially like the textured aluminum look around the window buttons and the center console and cup holders. The MyLink infotainment system is easy to use and the graphics look good, plus the screen can pop up and down to access a hidden storage area with a USB jack. Standard features include tilt and telescopic steering wheel, Bluetooth connectivity, USB, 8-way power driver's seat, and a whole lot more.
You might be able to say that the back seat is almost the best part of this car. It's like a limousine back here. There's tons of space for your feet, lots of room to stretch out, and even ample headroom.
Now, I already mentioned that the base Impala comes with a four-cylinder engine. It's an all-new 2.5-liter direct injection unit with 195 horsepower. Now, I haven't driven it in this application, but I have used it in the new Malibu. And I got to tell you, when I drove it for the first time, I was mightily impressed with the power and the performance. In fact, it's one of the best new engines I've driven in a long time. The V6 engine is a 3.6-liter direct injection unit with a potent 305 horsepower. Now, both the four-cylinder and the V6 are matched to a 6-speed automatic transmission that is shiftable. However, the shifter for the manual shift is on top of the knob, which isn't the best location. They do that in other Chevrolet products as well. But who's kidding who? This is not a canyon carving car. This is a cruising car. So having a shiftable automatic in the first place is kind of silly. Now, General Motors has done a very good job with this car. I'd argue if you're looking at the more expensive LaCrosse, you can save a few bucks and get the same kind of experience with this big luxurious car. It does a lot of things right. The only problem is it's competing in a marketplace that is really quite small in Canada. We love small cars, we love mid-sized cars, big cars, not so much.
The previous Impala really was a good car, and it did a great job in its class. Now, this latest model shares the same platform as the Cadillac XTS and the Buick LaCrosse, and it really is a step in the right direction. The big car platform and independent suspension makes for a sure-footed ride with almost luxury car feel. The road feel is there, but never intrusive. This big sedan can actually handle rather well. Not the choice for backcountry road excursions, but stable and secure feeling. Another area of improvement is the quiet cabin that gives Buick a run for its money. Now, one thing this car doesn't offer is all-wheel drive, where the Dodge Charger and Ford Taurus do. Other competitors like the Nissan Maxima and the Volkswagen Passat also stick to just front-wheel drive. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more passing power on the highway, but the highway really is where the Impala is the most comfortable. The interior is incredibly quiet, and overall it's just got a very luxurious ride feel to it.
Now, Lacey, what do you think of this big Impala?
You know what, Zach? First of all, this is one good-looking car. The exterior styling is very handsome. On the inside, I like the fact that it has some very simple-looking buttons and knobs, but yet it's really upscale and sophisticated looking. The interior is incredibly quiet, and you know what? It's just a very luxurious, comfortable highway car. And on the downside, I'm not crazy about the location of the manual shift button, and there is limited visibility out the rearview mirror, but that's it. Zach, what do you think?
We're going to touch on a lot of the same things. Great styling outside, great styling inside. I like the technologically advanced engines, the 4 and the V6. I haven't had a chance to drive the 4 in this car, but I did in the Malibu, and it actually won me over. The V6 is a powerhouse. Most people will get the 4-cylinder. It's going to do a fine job, that new 2.5 liter. As Lacey mentioned, it's smooth, it's quiet, it's actually a pretty good handling car, and it offers good value under $30,000. And on the downside, Lacey, I agree with you, the shift location for the manual shifter is a bit awkward, but for me it's really the all-wheel drive or the lack of it. And you know what? Canadians are turning towards all-wheel drive in record numbers, and it's just not available in this vehicle. I think the problem for the Impala, and it's never going to get back to the glory days they had in the 60s and 70s, someone shopping for a full-size car, they're thinking, you know what? I'm going to get a mid-size SUV instead of a car.
I think though, Zach, this car is going to appeal to those people that are looking for a mid-sized car because they can get a lot more car, but for just a little bit more money.
That's true.
Want more? Extended reviews of many of our segments are available online at drivingtelevision.com.